So I was recently just scrolling through an Asian website, as you do of course, and the Vernee Apollo Lite caught my eye. Its specifications, followed by its price, was honestly pretty mind-blowing, so I thought we have to give this phone a spin. So just before we start my full review, if we could hit 600 likes, that would be absolutely insane. Also, if you're not already subscribed, be sure to do that now, because I'll be giving away this phone and a whole host of other awesome smartphones in the not too distant future. So the Vernee Apollo Lite is a really interesting smartphone. It's incredibly well built for the price. It feels better than, I'd say, the OnePlus 3, and probably as good as my Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge in the hands. It's definitely not the thinnest phone at 9.2mm, quite the contrary. It's actually a very thick, bulky phone, but it works to its favour. It feels significant and high quality. Having said that, if you take into account that there's already a pretty sizable 5.5-inch screen on the phone, then it does become pretty hard to handle with one hand alone. But speaking of the screen, it's absolutely glorious. It's 1080p resolution and is an ISGO IPS panel. And while the resolution on paper it doesn't exactly blow your mind away, the colours, the viewing angles, the saturation, even in broad daylight was honestly quite stunning. What you're seeing here is the smartphone on just 60% brightness. And what can I say? It glows. Now internally, this is where things get really impressive. We've got the deca-core Helio X20, supported by a powerful GPU and 4GB of RAM. So combined with the 1080p display, this makes for an insane gaming experience. Everything, and I repeat everything, basically runs as it was meant to. You get great viewing experience, the colours are really saturated, and honestly I can't recommend this more as a gaming smartphone. Even just browsing through the UI, and you can really feel the power under the hood. I actually spent a good 10 minutes trying to make the smartphone lag, and I failed. Going through the internet browser, flicking through home screens, browsing on the Play Store, I just couldn't. It was very snappy. The only thing I would say is it could be due to the quite new chipset. There were a couple of bugs, for example YouTube thumbnails not loading. It was also nice to see that we've got Android 6.0.1, which is pretty much as recent as you're going to see on a smartphone. There's no hidden tips and tricks or secrets, but I mean, this is stock Android and it's up to date. We can't really complain. The fingerprint sensor on the back is pretty good, but not exactly the fastest I've seen, but definitely decent. But the camera, at least on paper, is absolutely fantastic. 16 megapixels, capable of 4K video, and with phase detection autofocus, safe to say I was pretty excited to try it. So what do I actually think to the camera? Well, to be honest, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I thought the autofocus was extremely quick, but the shutter time could be faster. The images are generally crisp and vibrant, but it does lose quite a lot of detail when you go to lower lighting conditions. But with a bit of editing and a little bit of luck, you can produce some pretty stunning photos, and the 4K video is not half bad either, if not a tad shaky. Let's take a listen to the audio. The company hasn't actually disclosed whether they're running stereo speakers or mono speakers, but either way I have to say I didn't particularly enjoy the sound experience. They weren't that loud and there wasn't enough bass, and to be honest it's a little bit too much emphasis on the mids. At 3180 mAh though, I was loving the battery. I was getting almost 2 days of use out of it. On heavy usage, probably 1.5 days, which for me is absolutely great. It's even a step up from my S7 Edge, which has a pretty great battery in itself. So there we go guys, that is the Vernee Apollo Lite. It's got a gorgeous screen. Its top of the line components actually translate to a great user experience. It also has microSD card support up to 128 gigs and 4G built inside of it. A stunning offer, and to be honest, one that I can thoroughly recommend.